Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I've got another Taylor Swift sock vlog for you today. So I am absolutely not going in order in terms of albums. I've already done a pair of socks from Midnights that were inspired by the song Bejeweled, and I've done a pair of folklore socks that were inspired by the song Cardigan. Because of some yarn that I had in my stash and something that I just wanted to try out, the next album that I'm going to be doing is Taylor's debut album. So going all the way back to the beginning. And I think I've come up with an idea that's inspired by the lyrics from our song. So stay with me here for a second, because this is definitely I have the image in my brain, but I'm not sure if it's going to work yet. First of all, this is the yarn I'll be using. I've already split it into two. I'll hold it up nice and close to the camera so you can see. It's some denim blue, tealy colors, some pale blue, and some bright spring green. So shades of blue and green seem to be appropriate for debut album. And this is a yarn that I actually got at the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival, and I actually won this by being one of the winners of the crochet relay race. So that was exciting when I got it. This yarn is from the Sheepwalk Fiber Arts Studio, and I'm looking at the back and I'm a little confused. I think the yarn base is called East Meets West, which is a superwash merino yarn with a hint of silk, bamboo, and nylon. And I think the color is called Stromness, S-T-R-O-M-N-E-S-S, but I'm not sure because it's a handwritten color name. But this is a independent yarn dyer in Texas. So funny that they were all the way in Wisconsin for the Sheep and Wool Festival. But when I was planning out my Taylor Swift sock series, I saw this yarn in my stash and realized that it would be perfect for debut. So I'm going to go ahead and use it for that. Other tools I have handy are my ChiaoGoo red lace needles in size 1. I've got scissors, darning needles, and then I also have these cool little cable clips that I got from one of my local yarn stores, just to keep everything neat and tidy when I'm not working on it. So on to the plan for the socks. So I was thinking about lyrics from the debut album and how I was going to incorporate those into a design, because with my Bejeweled socks it was super easy because the inspiration came purely from the yarn color. It was jewel tones and sparkly. For Cardigan it was pretty easy to integrate some cables into a sock design, like the cabled cardigan that was part of Taylor's merch line at the time and still is in its varying forms. But I wanted to find something in the lyrics from one of the songs that would translate into a knitting pattern. And at first I thought about doing something inspired by Teardrops on My Guitar, because there is a stitch called the raindrop stitch, but it's just a knit purl pattern, and I've done a lot of stuff in that stitch before, so I didn't really want to use that, but that was kind of my backup idea. But then I thought about the lyrics in our song, and there's a line in the song that's actually in the refrain that says, "Our song is the slamming screen door, sneaking out late, tapping on your window." I had to look at my screen to double check the lyrics. And I got kind of stuck on this idea of windows and doors as a motif that could translate into knitting. So I think my plan is to create a design just on the leg of the sock. So this isn't going to go all the way down to the toe. It's just going to be a design on the leg that has some little window pane designs and maybe bigger rectangles for the door. And I can visualize this so clearly in my head, but I have no idea if it's going to look right on the socks or not. So we'll just find out together if it looks good. Either way, it'll be another pair of socks under my belt, so it's a win either way. I am thinking I'm not going to make these super tall in terms of how tall the leg is going to be, so I might just see how long this decorative motif ends up being, and then only do a couple rows after that to finish off the leg of the sock. But then the foot of the sock will be just vanilla stockinette stitch in the round, and I'm going to do a heel flap and gusset heel. So I'm going to go ahead and cast on. I do have 2 pairs of needles because I plan on knitting these in tandem just because I think that's going to be easier for me. I also have a sticky note out so I can make pattern notes as I go. And I think that's it. Oh, the kind of base pattern I use for my socks right now is the SOS sock from Summerly Designs. It should be a free pattern on Ravelry. It's her basic vanilla sock weight sock. There's also a full YouTube tutorial for how to do the heel flap and gusset on those socks, so highly recommend. But that's what I'm using to determine my stitch count and my heel and my toe decreases. That's kind of the base pattern I'm using. I'm just adjusting the cuff so that it or not the cuff, the leg of the sock, so that it has this hopefully motif that reads as windows and screen doors. But now I think that's actually it. So let's dive into the actual knitting. It's the next day and I have finished the ribbing on both of my socks. So I'm going to dive into the first kind of motif that I have planned, which is the window pane design. So I'm looking for a classic like cross in the middle shape, and I'm hoping to use knit stitches that will like pop forward a little bit to be the like lines of the window, and that the purl stitches will sit back a little bit and be the actual window panes. So this is totally an experiment. I don't know what it's actually going to look like, but we're going to try it out. Finished this section on one of the 2 socks so far, but I love how it looks. Does it read as window panes? Absolutely not. But the texture is so fun. I love these ridges that are created from the rows where I'm purling. And then for the window panes, I did 2 rows of knit all, 2 rows of knit 2, purl 2, 2 rows of knit all, 2 rows of knit, purl, knit 2, purl 2, 2 rows of knit all, and then separated on either side by 2 rows of purl all. So the knit stitches make that window pane shape, but it's kind of hard to see, especially on a variegated yarn. But I think the texture is really fun. Also, the ridges that stick out kind of remind me of guitar frets, but even though the pattern's not reading as well as I originally wanted it to, I still really like how these look, and I think I'm going to keep it in the final design. So I'm going to go ahead and do this section on my other sock and then start the screen door motif next. I have now finished the next section on both of my socks. So this is what the stitch pattern looks like. I think the screen door section is a little bit more evident than the window section that I started with, but I am loving how textured these socks are and how the variegated yarn is showing up in that texture. I'm going to do one more band of my first texture stitch and then start working on the heels. So this is what they look like. I'm going to keep knitting. Alright, this is what the legs of my sock look like. So again, I just did another round of that first motif. I realized I forgot to say how I did the second motif, the screen doors, if you will. That was simply a repeat of knit 2, purl 6 all the way around, and I did that for 10 rows total, I believe. I do have 2 rows of knit all between my purl bands separating the sections as well. So from here on out, these are going to just be plain vanilla socks. So I'll do kind of my speed round version of showing you what I'm doing, but I'm just going to do a normal heel flap and gusset style sock with the slip stitch rib heel flap, regular toe decreases, just kind of boring from here on out, but I'll give you some progress updates and then talk to you when these are all done. Here is the finished sock design. So again, I just did the foot all in stockinette stitch, heel flap and gusset, and that super fun texture on the leg with our little screen doors that are a little bit more obvious than the windows I tried to do, although I do really like the window stitch that I ended up with, so I might have to put that back into another sock design. Here's the other one. I just haven't folded it sideways like I did with this one, but it is another finished sock. These ended up taking me forever to finish because I really lost motivation around when I started the foot, so after I finished the textured stitches, but I'm really glad I have them finished now because I think these will be wonderful and soft when the weather is nice and chilly out again. So that's going to be it for this pair of Taylor Swift socks. I hope you've been enjoying this series on my channel if you've been following along. If you haven't, I do have a playlist just for my Swiftie sock series on my channel that you can check out. This is the 3rd video in the series, so you can check out my folklore socks and my Midnights socks as well. Thank you so much for watching this vlog. If you want to follow me right here on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can be notified of all of my crafty content right here. And if you would like to follow me on other social media, that information will be in the description box below. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone!